Five tips for starting a lightning project.
Hello and welcome to Electrical Solutions YouTube channel. Today we're talking about 5 tips for starting a lighting project and things you want to think about or research before you do go ahead and get it started. The first one is going to be, do you have any what?
Future projects.
So are you adding a ceiling fan? Are you demoing this room? Anything like that that may affect what you're doing, because if you're adding a ceiling fan, for example, you're definitely going to want to put something away from that, because if not, the spinning of the fan will cast a shadow, or if you're putting bookshelves, or there's all sorts of things that can change the dynamic of the room and the way that it needs to be wired. The second one is going to be
Product type.
Are we wanting Are we wanting canless? Are we wanting track? Are we wanting fixtures? What do we want? And depending on what we want will change our layout and what needs to happen. And that is something that's just generally thought about when your electrician gets there, that they'll have a better understanding of what needs to happen and some good information for you to work through that if you're not exactly sure.
Layout.
Now, how many and where you want them, that can change also depending on you're using canless lights or can lights if you're going that route, because the canless lights can go basically wherever. You just need to cut a small or a hole to fit it in. A can fits into the ceiling, and if there's a cross stud or if there's a truss up there that needs to be, that is there, you can't put the can light exactly there. It has to fit in between, and that may change the way the layout is, and you want it all symmetrical. So that's going to change things for sure. And there is online apps that will help you with the layout of a room compared to how many you want and the spacing and all that stuff. So that's something that you can look at as well. The next thing is going to be
color spectrum.
Color spectrum is a huge deal because that can change the entire outlook of a room. That's measured in Kelvin, and it's typically 2500, 3000, 4000, 5000, 6500 K. There's a lot of different ones, and that will change the look and the feel of the room. The lower the Kelvin, the dimmer the light appears to be. The higher, the closer to daylight it is. The lower ones typically like that gloomy looking almost yellow light, as to where a 5000 or 6500 is going to be generally like a blue light. I typically don't like to put anything above a 4000 inside of a house because it hurts some people's eyes, but some people want it. So it's all up to the homeowner and what they want. The higher the Kelvin number, the brighter the light temperature is. Now this mixed with the brightness and lumens can get kind of tricky. You want to think about how bright you want those lights, because you can get a very, very high lumen output light at a low Kelvin temperature and it can look dim. Now you could take a low lumen light and put it at a 5000 K temperature and it may appear brighter, but the light output would be less. Now that may seem a little bit confusing, but lumens is the measure of actual light, and Kelvin is the measure of the color of the light. Now, the other thing with lumens is there's a thing called efficacy, which measures how many lumens there are in the light to how many watts it actually takes. Now that is important because the better the efficacy you can get, the less power you're going to use wattage wise. And especially if you're on a bigger project like a commercial building or an apartment building, depending on what you have going on, that's important because that's going to determine your power bill. And especially if you're switching over to LED for the entire building or multiple buildings, that can be what saves you your money. So these are some things that you definitely want to think about and have a general idea, and then work out with the gentleman and then work out with who is going to be finishing your project. I hope that helps, and thank you for watching. You want to say bye?